Global warming. It's getting warmer. As each second passes, as we breathe and move on, our planet Earth is corrupting. Threatened, destroyed, and withered, the home we built is in danger. But humans carry to live on without noticing these abnormal changes. It's a matter of time before Earth reaches its end. The causes are divided into two categories, which are natural and human influences of global warming. Natural causes of global warming includes rotation of the sun that changes the intensity of the sunlight and moving closer to the Earth, greenhouse gases, and volcanic eruption. Human influences on global warming includes industrial revolution, mining, deforestation, and many more.
There are many effects to global warming, such as heat waves, droughts, heavy rainfall with floods, heavy snowfall, ocean acidification, and species extinction due to shifting temperature region. The current warming trend is of particular significance because most of it is extremely likely, greater than 95% with rapidity, to be the result of human activity since the mid-20th century and proceeding at a rate that is unprecedented over decades to millennia. The planet's average surface temperature has risen about 0.9 degrees Celsius since the late 19th century, a change driven largely by increased carbon dioxide and other human-made emissions into the atmosphere. Scientists agree that the Earth's rising temperature are falling longer and harder heat waves, more frequent drought, heavier rainfall, and more powerful hurricanes. In 2015, for example, scientists said that an ongoing drought in California is the worst water shortage in 1,000 to 200 years, will intensify by 15% to 20% of global warming. They also said the odds of similar drought happening in the future had roughly doubled over the past century. The Earth's ocean temperature are getting warmer too. In fact, scientists have found that the frequency of North Atlantic hurricanes had increased since the early 1980s, as well as the number of storms that reached Category 4 and 5. In 2005, Hurricane Katrina struck New Orleans. The second costliest, Hurricane Sandy, hit the East Coast in 2012.
Just in the last 650 years, there have been 7 cycles of glacial advance and retreat, with the abrupt end of the last ice age about 7,000 years ago marking the beginning of the modern climate era and of human civilization. In fact, the Greenland and Antarctic ice sheets have decreased in mass. Data from NASA's Gravity, Recovery, and Climate Experiment show Greenland lost an average of 281 billion tons of ice per year between 1993 and 2016, while Antarctica lost about 134 billion metric tons of ice during the same time period. The rate of Antarctica ice mass loss has tripled in the last decade. Therefore, the amount of sea level change experienced at any given location. Sea level in the last interglacial period, around 125,000 years ago, peaked at probably 5 to 10 meters above the present level. During this period, the polar regions were warmer than they are today. This suggests that over millennia, long periods of increased warmth will lead to very significant loss of the parts of the Greenland and Antarctic ice sheets and to consequent sea level rise. Glaciers are retreating almost everywhere around the world, including in the Alps, Himalayas, Andes, Rockies, Alaska, and Africa. Satellite observations reveal that the amount of spring snow covered in the northern hemisphere has decreased over the past 5 decades, and that the snow is melting earlier. In Vietnam, in 50 years, the temperature increases from 0.5 degrees Celsius to 0.7 degrees Celsius, and the sea level to 20 centimeters. For the Mekong Delta, if the sea level increases by 1 meter, about 40% of its surface will be underwater. With global warming, at the current rate, the temperature should increase in Vietnam by 2,100 from 2 degrees to 3 degrees, meaning that in the future, the Mekong Delta should see its flow decrease during the dry season by 1/4 and, on the other side, increase by about 15% during the flood season. The sea level rise is expected to reach 0.75 to 1 meter according to the Institute of Development Studies of the Mekong Delta. 2.4 million hectares of crops are expected to be destroyed by seawater, causing significant human and economic damage, as the Mekong Delta is contributing around 18% to the national GDP.
In order to prove some factors contributing to global warming, we carried out a series of experiments to demonstrate their impact.
For example, how radiation determines temperature. In order to do this, we place a container on a dark surface, then put a thermometer inside and then another one outside. We then use the neon lamp to shine to the container as a substitute for some light, and the result that we found is that the temperature inside is greater than that of the outside. This experiment suggests that the Earth is getting warmer because all of the pollution in our atmosphere acts as a heat trap that doesn't allow sunlight to escape, just like how the container keeps all the heat inside. This happens because some gases like water, methane, or carbon dioxide trap in their chemical bonds the energy that is supposed to be evacuated from Earth. Particularly, methane absorbs about 4 times more the amount of energy than carbon dioxide. This will make the ice melt, and under those big layers of ice built from 1,000 years ago, reveals black mountain range and valleys. This melting and exposure of soil, rocks, and the dark surface on Earth, like our roads and dark-colored bodies of water, results in a greater absorption of light and more intense release of heat to the planet. White caps, snow, and glaciers are needed to counteract the absorbing effect of the asphalt and construction in big cities. The reflection of this thermal energy is known as the albedo effect. Another experiment used to show the connection between combustion, metabolism, and production of carbon dioxide was carried out to measure the carbon dioxide concentration in the air, comparing a place with few people inside and outside. The data suggests that the level of CO2 inside is less than outside. The reason is there's more transportation that uses fossil fuel outside and other sources that produce CO2, such as the combustion of non-renewable fuel, factories, and so on, compared with a space with very limited sources of CO2. This experiment allows us to compare the amount of CO2 that is produced by human activities alone versus technology and transportation outside.
To demonstrate how planes influenced by the natural greenhouse effect, we did a little experiment. First, cover the plane with a black plastic bag, put one thermometer inside, and record the data of CO2. Then, in another experiment, we cover the plane with a clear plastic bag and measure the CO2 of it. We shine the light into both. The results suggest that the plane can perform photosynthesis better if they have sunlight, because they use the energy from the sun to change water and carbon dioxide into glucose, and they cannot do photosynthesis without sunlight, so the CO2 in a dark bag is better than the clear bag. It also means that When there is no air pollution, plants can absorb 6 carbon dioxide and produce 6 oxygen. But when there is air pollution, it prevents the plant from getting enough sunlight to perform photosynthesis. This makes plants only absorb 3 carbon dioxide and produce none oxygen. This process is called light-independent reaction. For the question about the impact of temperature on plants, we did an experiment. We place breastbone in front of the hair dryer and blow direct heat onto it. The data that we found were that the breastbone drew and withers away gradually as more time passed. It showed us grass, just like any other tree in the world, will survive the right, hot air or the strain of environment that the earth is going through. The tree play an important role in filtering the air that we breathe and keep us and many more organisms alive. That's why we need to protect our most vital oxygen sources.
Here are some solutions. You can take public transport or share your car to help reduce carbon dioxide and save costs as well. Another way is by recycling garbage and reusing plastic bags, bottles, papers, or glass to help save the environment. As we can see, natural resources in our planet are limited. One day, they will eventually come to an end. If we continue to abuse the environment and non-renewable energy like we currently do, we will lose our only home. Let's not wait until it's too late to start making a change. Because no matter where you are, what you look like, or who you're with, we only share this one planet. And together, we can fight climate change.